Welcome to the party. I'm Sam Ekstrom of Locked On Sports Minnesota. Is Sam Darnold the greatest signing in Vikings history? Might be worth a debate.
I'm Luke Braun of Locked On Vikings. When I go to sleep, all I see are Brian Flores coverage structures. I'm in prison.
Great. That's good news. Hey, this is Arif Hassan at the Wide Left Substack. Game time.
Luke Inman on X at Luke_Spinman. Arif stole my bit. You know what time it is. It's game time.
Locked On Sports Minnesota podcasts. It's endless Minnesota Vikings talk with the diverse voices of your local experts. It's time for the Minnesota Football Party. It's your guys hanging out talking next level Vikings football. So join in with Arif Hassan, Locked On Vikings Luke Braun, Superior Sports Talk's Luke Inman, and Vikings insider Sam Ekstrom, plus the biggest names in Minnesota football for the Minnesota Football Party. And it starts now.
Welcome in to the Minnesota Football Party on a Thursday. We do this live on Locked On Sports Minnesota every Monday and Thursday, and now we've added a bonus Wednesday edition as well. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks so much for joining us, for watching, listening, subscribing, commenting, and catch our audio, the Locked On Vikings audio feed, where Luke Braun produces great daily Locked On Vikings episodes. On today's show, how do you beat the Bears again for the second time in a month? They play Monday night. Is Sam Darnold the greatest transaction in Minnesota Vikings history? We have a frank conversation about the O-line. Ron Johnson joins. We make week 15 bets. A lot of great stuff coming up on a show that is brought to you by Prize Picks. Yep, Prize Picks is the best way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL. Use code all lowercase LockedOnNFL to win $50 instantly when you play $5. Vikings Bears Monday night. Start with this. I watched back the first half of Bears 49ers because I needed a laugh.
Yeah, you need a confidence boost.
Oh boy.
I needed just a little levity in my life. And this is what I came away with. The most remarkable part of the Bears getting outgained 319-4.
Yeah.
In the first half.
More punts than yards.
Hey, drafting Torrey Taylor.
Hey, Torrey Taylor. We ain't going to use you, but, you know.
Caleb Williams just
keep the
lied
Corvette
to
in
him.
the shop.
My God. He just straight as lied to his face. You're not going to punt here. You think he didn't warm up before games?
Bad leadership.
It's mean. Yeah.
Caleb was sacked, 7 times? How many times was he sacked in the first half, Sam, when you watched? Do you remember?
Well, I'll tell you. Someday I'll get to finish my sentence. But
sorry about that.
Russell
Wilson,
in this
game
pod.
time.
Yeah.
So here are how the drives went in the first half for the Bears. Tell me if you detect a theme. Run, pass short of the sticks, punt. Bubble screen, first down pass, drop, sack, punt.
You charted it. All right.
Run, batted pass, sack, punt. Short pass, run, sack, punt. Check down, sack, punt. So where were a lot of those sacks coming? Third down, baby.
Third down.
And the Bears did not, to my eye, have a single penalty on offense. They were that bad without holding calls, face masks, offensive passenger. Like, it was all just.
Probably should have held a little bit more from what I'm hearing.
It was.
Hey, Coleman Shelton, I have an idea.
Yeah. Yeah. The most sackable quarterback in the NFL really emerged. And here's the nerdy stat of the day. Bonus.
He's gunning for the lead. He's gunning for the record.
Caleb Williams set a season high for a quarterback. 77.8% pressure to sack. Most for any game for a QB this year. Now, I did go back to last year. Desmond Ridder did.
Like you thought that was the sack record he was.
I thought that I was like, he hit the sack record on December Ninth? What?
Dude, that sack record is that's like a Favre Ironman record. It is pretty wild. I don't know how close he is, but if anybody beats that, it's going to be wild.
Well, okay. Well, actually,
Because David Carr took a beating.
Interesting. It's not actually David Carr. It's Randall Cunningham who got it in a season that he wasn't starting in.
That's right.
He had a 25% sack rate that season.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's the craziest stat.
Yeah, I remember this. I brought this up to football historian Matthew Collar, and he explained it away somehow. And like there was some kind of
what, they were treating rushes as sacks or something.
There was something that like made it more justifiable. I can't remember exactly what it was. It was something to do with like they put Cunningham in at the end of games to run around and like kill the clock or something. I don't know what it was exactly, but yeah, it's crazy. It's definitely crazy. But Luke Inman, so Caleb Williams just got sacked a bajillion times. They had 4 yards in the first half. What do you have to do to maybe not duplicate that, but just to beat the Bears comfortably on Monday night?
Boy, it's funny to your point here. I'm sitting here thinking about all these, different stats and facts and the charting that you did. It's just funny. I mean, we just saw this team, 3 games ago? It's kind of crazy how much has changed for both teams, really, but in such a short amount of time. Vikes coming off their best performance, maybe top to bottom, all 3 phases of the season. Meanwhile, I mean, to your point here, like you were explaining, the Bears went into that last matchup with the Vikings, and remember the storylines were like, oh, they've been so close lately. If it wasn't for the Hail Mary and then the block kick at the end, they'd be taken more seriously and all that. Fast forward to now, like you're saying, I mean, they lose to the Lions on Thanksgiving on that embarrassing joke last sequence. Head coach gets fired. Offensive coordinator already got fired. And then they come out and get destroyed by that Niners team, who, by the way, that Niners team was coming into that game too with like not a lot of momentum. I mean, they were in all sorts of funks coming in as well. They give up 38 points to them. That's the most points they've allowed all season. So now you're thinking, oh, shoot, did Eberflus actually know what he was doing a little bit on defense? Maybe we needed to keep Eberflus just on defense kind of thing. Offensively, though, you look at that offense, they got no run game. They got no run. Swift hasn't hit 40 yards in 3 straight games. Caleb's been sacked,
Jesus
like you said,
Christ.
12 times in the past 2 weeks, 7 of them last week versus the Niners. And honestly, more important than those 2 things, they just can't score. Like 6 of their last 7 games, they've scored 20 or less points. They can't even hit that 21-point mark, and they just seem broke offensively, to your point. So actually, now that I think about it, the only game they did score more than 20 points against the Vikes, but remember 15 of those came in the last 3, 4, 5 minutes. So, to answer your question here, Sam, circling back, I think on paper, on the field, the Vikes match up fantastically against this team with B-Flow and all the stresses he can cause, not just to a rookie quarterback, but the offensive line. And that is a well below average offensive line. I was watching or reading some sort of like 2024 redraft, and people were talking about the Bears shouldn't have taken Roma Dunze if they were to do it all over. They need an offensive lineman. Like, they already got these 2 weapons, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Cole Kmet.
There was the class for it. I don't know.
That was the class. Yeah, that was the class.
And many were saying on the day, too.
We all talked about it. Don't get me. I like Roma Dunze as a prospect. I think he's really good. But like, you drafted your franchise quarterback number 1 overall. We've seen this. We were just joking about David Carr and everything, all the sacks you've taken. You should have built that offensive lineman a little bit more. But on the field, I think B-Flow, he's going to cause more stress again. Now you get him at home this time in front of the U.S. Bank Stadium crowd. It's gonna be tough going for Caleb for sure. And they got to find some more creativity. I mean, just reading the charting, you were kind of calling out the run, short pass of the sticks kind of stuff. That ain't going to work. And they got nothing to lose at this point, too. So they should kind of let the leash off a little bit and let Caleb do what he does best. And again, he's got some weapons. We know Keenan Allen turns into this gold jacket Hall of Famer versus the Vikes. But again, on paper, X's and O's. On the field, I think this is a great matchup versus the Vikings. And then off the field, when you just think about momentum-wise stuff too, right? Like the human element stuff, the Bears, what they've gone through lately, I mean, losing their offensive coordinator 1 week, head coach gets fired, all that stuff, versus what the Vikings, I mean, they're on cloud 9. They're riding high. They just beat Kirk Cousins
worried
in
about
Atlanta.
what the dance they're going to do in the end zone after their next interception.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna cut practice short today, Coach. Me and Metellus are gonna go work on this.
We got to go work on
fully
this thing
padded
from a 90s
practice
movie.
yesterday meant just full on celebration.
Fully padded dance rehearsal.
How
At
long?
some point, they will figure out how to like put like the tap mechanism from tap shoes into their cleats.
Oh, let's go.
And get a mic and get like a mic.
Yeah,
Oh,
right,
yeah.
yeah. Dude, river dance. All
River
on
dance.
it.
You remember when Joe Horn pulled the cell phone out of the well, they're gonna pull out that like wooden board just so they can tap dance.
I think next they do need to do something that gets them fined. Like I think that's the next
Oh, yeah.
We're getting
elevation.
close.
Well, they need
Yeah.
a prop or something. Like the rules can't contain them.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Actually, I think getting a fine is the way to go.
I think
Yeah.
Cam Bynum next time he's going to lift up his shirt. It's going to say "Dancing with the Stars" next season featuring Cam Bynum. Like how long until Cam Bynum is on Dancing with the Stars? Like
it's
it just
such
feels
a
like
long message to put on a shirt.
Yeah.
It's just like, the logistics of this are crazy.
I can't read that. Can we zoom in on that? I have no idea what that says.
It was like when Everson Griffin, like,
Yeah.
just very crudely wrote on like a white tee in like a crayon under his jersey. What should I?
That's
like,
what I'm
was it?
thinking of.
What should
I was
I?
like, what should I name my kid?
son?
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking of. Oh my gosh.
Crowdsourced.
To one of the things Luke talked about with like the vibes in Chicago. I asked Lauren about this in the crossover on Crossover Thursday with Lauren Cox, Locked On Bears, and I just asked him point blank. I'm like, do the Bears have quit in them? And his answer was like, well, not all of them. So there are some players in that locker room. I forced him to name names, but all he said said was Coyley, one of the linebackers that starts with TE. So I don't know, but like DJ Moore also. I think he was talking about Tremaine Edmonds or the other guy. I don't know.
I mean, like demonstrably, DJ Moore has quit in them. Like we know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we know that about
Wouldn't that be Edwards
he
as well?
walked off the field when Caleb
yeah.
was like still
That's Lauren
scrambling
was
around.
Yeah. Edwards got just smoked by Kittle last week. The Niners, with just Garendo and Kittle, if they could have had no other offensive players in the field, they would have won that game the way they did.
Yeah,
It was all running backs and tight ends and crossers.
I emergency started Garendo in one of my leagues, and
Love
like
it.
7 minutes in, I
Love
checked
it.
and I was like, "This is glitching out. No way, dude."
Yeah. Dude, their
Like
fourth
50
string
yards.
running back, who I will say I used in Dynasty, I used my 4th round pick on him. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. San Francisco
4-3
offense.
guy,
who
why
knows?
not?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
He's still sitting like, in my taxi squad, but like, dude, 4th string running back. Yeah, what, over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns like by the 3rd quarter, and then he got hurt.
Yeah.
It could have been more. He got hurt. Yeah, Bears are not looking great.
What happened to
They're
Mason?
struggling.
I really liked Mason when he played here in week 2.
Yeah, he went on the IR too.
He's
Not
hurt.
sure if it's a shoulder or
Everybody's
what.
hurt, man.
Yeah.
It's one of those years for San Francisco. Sometimes you get an
Really
injury.
needs
Sometimes you get a
Super
2016
Bowl
happens.
hangover. Super Bowl hangover.
And
You need him
Sometimes
healthy
Deebo
in week
Samuel-
17 against the
Sometimes
Lions.
Deebo Samuel just turns into bad. He's just bad now. But
He
he's
does
not
do that
fucking-
sometimes. That he's had a history of just like having whole bad years and then being amazing the next year.
He says he's not struggling. That's the important part.
Well, as long as he says so.
Do you see the community note? He said, "I'm not struggling," and then the community note is he's had like 7 drops. Yes, he is.
Oh my god!
Community notes got him.
Yeah, he got community noted on his own.
Yeah, community noted on your
I'm
own.
out. Yeah,
Jesus.
coach, I tweaked something. Shelf me. I'm done. Community notes.
Gosh.
Can't argue with that.
Oh, when we come back, people are going to yell at us in the comments when we talk about Sam Darnold being the greatest transaction in Minnesota Vikings history. And maybe we'll put some parameters around it.
Okay, no, hold on, Sam. When you sent the email, it says signing, and now you're saying transaction. I'm not prepared anymore.
Let me read the email. The email said, Darnold for Cousins, .. Is it the best transaction in Vikings history, and what competes with it? That's the word for word.
It's true. I didn't read the
email.
email. I was actually reading.
I just community noted you.
Right on
All the
brand.
prep Arif did from the time he first saw the sidebar,
Yeah.
like 10 minutes
that's
before
actually,
we recorded,
That's literally what. Yeah, that's
is
what
now
happened.
ruined.
Yeah.
All right, let's restart the show.
All right.
Let's do it for real.
3, 2, going live, and welcome to the party. We'll be right back. FanDuel brings us today's show. FanDuel.com, America's #1 sportsbook for a reason, because they have sweet deals. New customers bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets when that $5 bet wins. You can bet before the game. You can bet live during the game. Great live wagering options, future bets as well. Whenever you have a hunch, you can probably wager on that at FanDuel. It's NHL, it's NBA, it's NFL, it's college football playoff, baby. It's bowl season. And college basketball. Cooper Flag, FanDuel.com. Join today. Bet 5, get $150 when that $5 bet wins. You could go 16.5 points. Who's that? The Giants are playing the Ravens. You could get the money line on the Ravens and get that $5 win at FanDuel.com. Don't waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. We're also brought to you by Game Time, which is how you get tickets, not only to sports, but to concerts, comedy, theater, and so much more. Game Time picks will filter out the fluff and show you incredible deals, like getting into US Bank Stadium on Monday night in a whiteout situation for like $119. That is so fair and such a good price for an 11-2 football team in primetime in a division game. Get a panoramic view from your seat, get the lowest price guarantee, and get the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Everyone say it with me. What time is it? Game Time. What time is it?
I was on mute.
No, I already got my rep in. I don't know what you're talking about yet.
I mean, I know you.
What are we
I know
supposed to
you
say?
like. All right, in 20 seconds, you guys will throw it out there. Just to
I already got my rep in. I don't know what you're mad
I know
about.
how it goes. I
don't
understand.
know.
Yeah, it's weird.
All right, so people have seen the title of the show. We're talking about the greatest signings in Vikings history. Kale Chips makes a great point. Jalen Redmond on the road to be the best signing. Let's discern between.
At this rate, he is on a per game basis going to set a record for tackles for loss. That is true.
Yeah. Rate stats.
I don't see why that pace will slow.
Yeah,
I don't either. That
40-minute video breakdown. Patreon.com/Luke Brown NFL on Jalen Redmond.
40
minutes.
That's beautiful. Wow.
Yeah.
Sick in the head.
It's like a
dude. I turned in 8,500 words to you on Brian Flores. I'm not okay.
Yeah, you doing okay? Better help. H-E-L-P.
No.
Yeah. That's a two-parter cry for help. Okay.
Game Time.
And is that different than your Locked On episode content, or do you kind of slip in some crossover content, or is it all?
No,
a
podcast will usually be like abridged versions of the Patreon, and it's like if you want to see video of this, go to the Patreon.
So Redmond is probably number one, but who's number two? I think that Redmond would classify because they found him from like another league and brought him here. I would say let's not talk draft picks. I think that just muddies the waters. Let's talk about professionals that they sign.
Okay, so does this exclude undrafted free agents? Because the chat's already said John Randall.
Okay, so John Randall was signed straight after the draft. Did he float around in the league at all?
He signed right after the draft.
Yeah. So I would say
he was
no.
A tryout and then signed. Yeah.
For this conversation, I would say no. We're not talking about rookie signings. We're talking about guys that are available, that are on the market, or traded for. Sam Darnold.
Sorry, I have another clarification. I'm sorry, Sam.
No, that's fine.
Waivers, do they count? Because this does come up.
Sure.
All right.
But not
trades. Didn't want to do it, but reluctantly said sure.
But no trades though.
Yeah. So originally when you were talking, going from Cousins to Darnold, immediately I thought going from Diggs, trading Diggs, and then drafting JJ kind of thing. But no draft picks. Okay.
Yeah, and again, hard not to think there. Think about getting a first round pick for Diggs, or getting 2 first round picks for Percy Harvin. Those are good transactions. But if you think about signing Darnold and what is attached to that in letting Cousins go, Darnold as like your intentional starting quarterback. You can talk about Cunningham, you can talk about George, you can talk about Keenum. They were not designed to be your starter. Those were accidents that you stumbled into. You signed them as backups. Sam Darnold was like a very intentional starting quarterback decision for $10 million. And you're going to win 13, 14 games with him. So beat that. Find a better transaction in Vikings history, or one that even comes close.
Yeah, I honestly, when you think about quarterback contracts now, and having to obviously soak up all that money with Kirk Cousins for all those years, and then going to a $10 million quarterback and the production you've got, this is going to be tough. I don't have anything off the top of my head. I'll pass to Arif and Luke, but this is going to be tough to beat that for sure.
So Macho Meech has been putting a bunch of joke answers in here. Chris Herndon, Josh Freeman. But Jake Long was an amazing signing for 3 quarters before the knee imploded. That's just accurate. That's not even it's incredible.
Best 3 quarters we've seen from a street free agent and maybe ever.
Darrisaw level performance, man. That was awesome.
I mean, like Steve Hutch. Okay, great free agent signing. Love it. So, Winfield, go ahead.
Well, okay, so I've constructed a list of 5 free agents, and then when you said waivers, Sam, I included Chris Carter because got him off of waivers. All he does is score touchdowns, man. Which at the time, an insult, I guess. There's a whole story for like why he said it that way, and it was like to protect Carter, and it's actually really nice gesture from Buddy Ryan. But Chris Carter is like up there. Like if we only talk about like the quality of the player and we don't talk about like quarterback values, like that's worth like I think Chris Carter is definitely up there. I'd say my favorite, which is not necessarily the best, but my favorite is Antoine Winfield. Mm-hmm. Incredible signing. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite players ever to watch. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Chris Carter waiver, Randall Cunningham, coaxing him out of retirement. He was working like in construction or something like that. Hutch poison pill changed the history of the league forever with how contracts were signed. Antoine Williams, and then also a Buffalo Bill, Pat Williams, or Antoine Winfield, Pat Williams. Mm-hmm. And then you can't ignore Brett Favre. That's what a signing.
Hey, Jonathan Grenard's actually, on a pretty good trajectory right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Grenard's going to have a bigger long-term impact on the franchise than Darnold too.
Van Ginkel.
I want to go way back.
Of course you are.
I knew you would do this.
1966.
I knew you would do this.
1966.
Of course,
Sam was just a young pup.
Comes out with the trump card in the non-Super Bowl era. Actually,
Sam had just graduated college.
Sam had just graduated.
Still didn't have his driver's license.
We have Ron Johnson right after this story as well.
Hitchhiking over the Met.
So, yeah, they traded away Fran Tarkenton when he demanded his trade. The whole Norm Van Brocklin thing.
Is this Joe Cap?
No, but Joe Cap's a very good one. No, the fact that they traded him away, they got multiple first-round picks. He played in New York for like 5 years, sucked, and then they traded him back to the Vikings for like a third. They just sold him and then bought him back on the cheap.
The whole Fran Tarkenton package is the
insanely profitable, and also like acquiring Fran Tarkenton a second time and then going.
Yeah, well, the Giants were like, oh no, we don't have Y.A. Tittle anymore. That was like the deal, right? So they just kind of panicked. Something like that. Anyway.
Yeah. And then Fran Tarkenton immediately regretted everything. He was like, oh, wow, it really sucks here. And I probably should have stayed because the real reason I was mad was the bad man. And he's also just gone. And then watched Joe Cap take him to Super Bowls and was like, crap.
Yeah, I can do better than that.
Yeah.
Paul Krause, pretty good one from Bad Dad Joke. I assume that was a free agent or was that a trade?
Oh, yeah.
For
Washington.
Even go to the expansion draft. Jim Marshall.
Oh, hey.
Ooh, yeah.
Nice. Second year, Jim Marshall. Nobody really knew how good he was.
Trade, says Bad Dad Joke.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a trade, but yeah.
Machu Meech wins the snarky suggestions. Aldridge Robinson.
That's good.
All he does, catch touchdowns.
Touchdowns.
Ron Johnson joins now on the Minnesota Football Party. Let's get the graphic right. Ron Johnson, he's at 3 Ron Johnson. Just had Andrew Sandejo on the Ron Johnson show. That was a fantastic interview talking Harrison Smith, hard hits. his new business, Braintree Nutrition. Very cool. Ron, you've been coming on this show for a while and forecasting kind of what's going to happen during the game. You've really gotten into your crystal ball. I'm curious what's going to happen against the Bears. What is the key in your mind to besting the Bears? Ron.
He's frozen.
Ron might be a little froze.
Yeah.
Frozen or
He's still
asleep.
working on it.
Very rigidly.
Well, let me screenshot that so I can Photoshop it next to a reef sleeping, because I have some of those screenshots as well.
That's great.
That's great.
Yikes. Ron, if you can hear us, I'll we'll try again. Try again in 5 minutes. Looks like he's still frozen.
Let's continue the free agent. Is there any others you want to throw into the hat? Luke, the historian, that was pretty good.
Jim Marshall was the other one.
Pretty hard to beat. Actually. That's a good
Paul
one.
Krause. You could go for like an Anthony Carter, pulling him out of the USFL kind of move.
Yeah, it's the USFL. Yeah.
Ryan Longwell stealing him from a division rival. That was pretty solid.
Honestly, I feel like I can't
Walker,
top
was
Jim
kind
Marshall.
of pretty impactful. No,
Herschel Walker was impactful.
Yeah, pretty impactful. Kind of like how
trade.
Kind of like how Times Person of the Year is not like the best person of the year, but the most impactful person of the year.
I feel like with like where Darnold stacks up on all this is like it's a Case Keenum world. Like this is a 1 year really cool flash in the pan. You stack him up to like Brett Favre, but there have been some pretty like historically franchise altering offseason moves.
Yeah.
So many quarterback moves to choose from.
How about the worst? Madeu Williams? All right, we're done.
Yeah. There's Ron.
Ron, you good?
Yeah, we're just going to have to go without the camera because it's doing that weird StreamYard thing again. It does once a month, so I'm not going to even try it right now.
Come on. He's at 3, Ron Johnson. We did the introduction. I don't know if you heard the question, Ron, but I want you to go in your crystal ball. Tell us what we need to know about this matchup with the Bears, the ailing 6 loss in a row Chicago Bears.
Well, Caleb Williams is like I don't know if you ever seen when the old adage about a injured lion or tiger. They could be extremely dangerous. And so Caleb Williams can be dangerous. Like you get him back into a corner, he might do something really, really good, or he might do something really, really stupid and get caught in a chain link fence. Like you just don't know what he's going to do. And so when you think about Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears, a lot of people assume that when you get a new coach, you're going to get an instant boost. But the new coach, I love Thomas Brown. I love him to death. Great guy, I think he could help out this team if he has more control over the offense. But it feels a little Jeff Saturday-ish. Like it felt like they were good for a little bit. Offense got better, but then the team is still fundamentally flawed. And that's the one thing I think I'll say about this team, looking at this matchup is they are fundamentally flawed. There are some things that they just don't do well. There are some offensive principles that they weren't doing right. The one thing he has had an uptick in is Keenan Allen usage. So for those that own Keenan Allen in fantasy, I know you've been excited the last couple of weeks, but other than that, there's not much to think about this team besides a trap. Like it's a trap game. The Vikings are unveiling their Winter Warrior uniforms that everybody's been talking about all off season. Everybody's going to be donned in white. You got we had Quinn Jersvig and Chelsea and Leah. So Leah O'Connell and Chelsea Adolfo-Mensah were on the show as well. And they talked about this upcoming Monday night and keep an eye on the defensive linemen and what they're going to wear to the game. So all this planning around gear, outfits, leather jackets, all that stuff. I just hope these guys are, celebrations. We heard, now they're like, oh, you thought that was something. Just keep watching. Like, I hope they're prepared for this game because I do know there are going to be some turnovers, probably 3. But I hope the Vikings still take this team serious because a lot of people wouldn't.
Inman, what do you got?
Yeah, Ron, Gophers versus Virginia Tech, Duke's Mayo Bowl. That's January 3rd in Charlotte. PJ Fleck going for his 6th. He's 5-0 in bowl games under the Gophers, going for his 6th bowl game victory. Just knee-jerk reaction when you heard that matchup, that bowl game. What do you like? Are you still intrigued in some of these bowl games as well? Now with this new college football playoff format.
The Vikings are 11-2. So at the very moment, no, I have no intrigue in some of these college bowl games. I'm not going to even lie about it. Like I don't. Like it's going to be like January 1st, 2nd. Yeah, I'll start watching, Virginia Tech and, taking an eye on it because we got to do a pregame show and, I'll prepare. But am I going to like spend a bunch of time the next 2-3 weeks? No, I am not. I'm not. I might put a little extra mayo maybe on my sub or something. Do a little cool Duke's Mayo video or something for them. But like, yeah, no, I'm not paying attention to it. I'm actually more paying attention to this portal because the Gophers just got a transfer from Georgia Tech quarterback. So then what does that mean for Drake Lindsey? I saw his dad tweet out, not Drake Lindsey's, but the transfer kid. His dad tweeted out like, my son, I'm so excited for this opportunity of the man he's going to become. He's a grad transfer from Georgia Tech. So he only played 3 seasons there, but he graduated early like I did myself, which I didn't know I could have done that. I didn't know when I graduated my junior year, I could have transferred and went somewhere else and finished my senior year. Had 2 years, red shirt plus another year somewhere else. Like, I don't know, Florida State. But, when you think about that, he spent 3 years at Georgia Tech. Decent, not great. He's going to come in Minnesota. He is a big, tall kid. I'm more interested in how he, when does he come in? He has a fiance, I guess his dad said. So how does Drake Lindsey handle that? Does he feel slighted? Does he realize like, look, dude, you're still just a freshman. Like it is not guaranteed that you deserve to play as a freshman. And I wish more schools and more kids and more quarterbacks for sure. Receiver, running back. Yeah, I get quarterbacks. Like wait till as long as you can. If you can get 3 full seasons as a great quarterback, I think you'll be better. I mean, look at Ethan Kaligmanis. Like he was up and down this season, but imagine if he had waited maybe to play until now, he probably wouldn't be seeing what we saw, which is like indecisive, not knowing what he can do. So I'm more interested in this portal and some of these guys, like Marshall's entire team just entered the portal. Which one, I understand they're trying to prove a point to that athletic department. It's too late. Your coach is not coming back. And 2, he went to Southern Miss. They have a full team. Like they can't recruit all of you clowns. Like why would I'd have been like, okay, maybe 15 of you guys go hit the portal, but we're going to stay because there's no room for us there. Like it's like when Jesus and when Mary and Joseph went to the inn, like there's no room in the inn. You got to go to the manger. So I'll have these Marshall guys or maybe 2/3 of the Marshall guys in the portal. They're going to have to go somewhere else. They can't follow their coach. Like you can't have 280 kids on one team, you dummies. So, I get it. I get the sentiment. You're trying to show that the athletic department. Look, we will go find 100-something kids from other schools. They're like, oh wait, we can play at Marshall. Like, dude, go back to your school. Get out the portal. Like, stop playing around. Especially if they were to name Belichick's son as the head coach. Like, stop it. But no, I have not paid attention much to the bowl game stuff. I'm more interested in these like matchups before the final 4 teams, the bye weeks. Like those 12, I'm gonna watch. Like I'm gonna watch those games. Yeah. Like, am I watching the Patty Cake Dolly Parton Bowl? No, I'm not, unfortunately. But I will watch the Duke Mayo because it's the Gophers. I think PJ Fleck's going to get his 7th win. Max Brosmer, first chance to be in the FBS, so he's going to get a chance to play on the national stage one more time. And then for all those guys going to, like, I saw Quinn Carroll and Danny Strigau are going to the Hula Bowl. So for these seniors that are getting a chance to go to these bowls, there's another chance for them to put film out there for the Reese's Senior Bowl to maybe want to add them to the list.
So Luke and Ron, if the Gophers win, you will be pouring mayo over you on the postcast.
Luke will.
Yeah.
Luke will. Yep. That's a Caucasian thing. I'm not pouring mayo on myself.
I mean, PJ's getting mayoed after that game.
Luke can do it.
I don't know if you ever pour mayo.
Remember Undercover Brother? I don't know if y'all remember that movie when dude like had to eat a mayo sandwich and he had like a hot sauce watch that he could squirt hot sauce into a sandwich to counteract the mayo.
That's perfect. Yeah.
I do a nice Chipotle mayo or olive oil, salt and vinegar mayo. Like I love those in the store, but like straight up mayo, like I don't know about that one.
That's incredible.
Once you can call it an aioli, then it's
see the aioli is hot fire though. Like I do like that one. Like aioli, like I went to dinner with Martin Vance from the Vikings.
Martin
Vance, good. And we had some what is that called? Calamari with the aioli. Oh my goodness! Like it was. I forgot the name of the place. It's over in West End. Oh, it was hot fire. I was like, this is the best. It was like a aioli with a little bit of like a olive oil, garlic, hot like I don't know. It was super like chic, the restaurant. I forgot the name of it already. Oh, Buchetto or Buchetto.
I think we found another podcast opportunity for Ron. This is like
it was awesome. Yeah. You take me to a restaurant that has calamari, fried shrimp. Oh man, I'm in. Some garlic aioli. Oh man.
see why you wanted to play in Baltimore. That makes sense.
Exactly. When I learned about the wharf, oh man. Oh, that's the first. Like, I can never go to what's the place here over in Edina? It's considered a fish restaurant or seafood restaurant. I forgot the name of it. But I'm like, it's in Baltimore. It's not the same.
Oh,
Like,
Red Lobster.
No,
God,
hell
come
no.
on, man.
Oh, come on.
The last time I heard Red Lobster was in when Beyonce said she take her man to Red Lobster if he act right. Like, come on, stop playing.
Yeah.
But what's it? I'm gonna have to. It's gonna come to me eventually. But McCormick and Schmitz, like, they are considered and it's good. But when you go to Baltimore, way better, fresh. Like, oh man, I could talk that all day.
I got a football question if you don't mind.
Sure. Yes, I would put aioli on a football if I could.
No, I get it. No, I understand.
Right.
So I had someone tweet at me, and I didn't want to dignify it with a response, but I want your take.
Respond
the
to Mina
tweet was-
Kimes. You can respond to Mina Kimes. It's all right, Arif.
I don't have any trouble with that. All right. No, the person asked me, when should we accept that Dallas Turner is just bad?
Oh, get out of
your
here.
response to that.
Stop it. Like, this dude is behind 2 perennial Pro Bowlers right now. Like, when you look at Grenard and Van Ginkel and what they're doing, like, if I don't know if you guys noticed, but Kirk was ready for that. Like, we know Kirk studies. He was ready for that throw over to the running back, through the 2 outside linebackers. I think 3 times the crowd was like, oh, like they almost picked up. Danielle Hunter and those guys aren't picking that up. And Dallas Turner's probably not like even getting close to picking that up because you have to study and be ready for that. He's just not ready for that stuff. So for the people that are out there thinking he's bad, like, they're not watching. Like, he murdered Kirk Cousins on one of those quick rushes. Like, he's good. He's just behind 2 Pro Bowlers. Like, literally, like, he's going to have to work his way in. And here's the great thing for him is he's not forced to play because he's not strong enough yet. He hasn't gotten his grown man strength. He's got his college strength, but you're going to get some, like, Johnny Grenard. Like, when you have a baby, that's a different strength. And Van Ginkel, it's a different strength. Like, that's that mama bear, daddy bear.
He has
like,
to have a kid. That's
Yeah, he has to have a kid. Yeah.
Or just get a little older. Just get a little older. Get a little more
remember
mature.
how good of a blocker Laquan Treadwell was? He'd already had a kid.
yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
Hey,
You
but you
got
gotta
to
get
bulk
that-
up, have a kid.
So Dallas Turner, to me, like, when I see him get off the edge, when I see him spin, when I see him dump a tackle or kind of hit him with a dead leg and get up under it and dip the shoulder and get that, like, he has the moves, he has the potential, he just doesn't have the reps. And so that's the difference. If you put him on a team like, I don't know, let's say the Ravens that could use him in the 3-4, like, he probably would be getting way more conversation. If he went to the Rams and he could be their defensive end outside linebacker, probably way more he's just behind 2 really good outside linebackers, and Flores is using them when he can. I think Pat Jones being out, we got a chance to see him a little bit more. So, and Pat Jones started out fast. Like, we were talking about him being up for a $20 million.
Sacks in the first 2 games, baby.
Yeah, like, he was on pace for a $20 million deal. So, yeah, Dallas Turner is good. I just think he's going to have to, like, wait his time. And that's just the thing. And the good thing for the Vikings, he's on a rookie contract.
Ron, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, best wide receiver duo in the league. Yeah.
Yeah. T. Higgins, I think, is really good.
Cool.
Puka Nacua is good. But Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson are doing some stuff, like, combined. Like, I mean, it's amazing to see how well they're playing together and how Sam Darnold is just realizing, like, I have 2 weapons. Like, I legit have 2 weapons, and TJ Hockenson, you work in when you can. And the thing with is great is they're not forced to use TJ Hockenson, who's not 100%. He's probably 90%, 95%, but he's not 100%. And maybe it's physically he is, but mentally he's not. I don't know, but he's not moving as fast as I noticed in the past. He's not getting up the seam as quick as he used to. But yeah, those 2 are the best duo in the league. Like I said, I love Cooper Kupp. The 49ers group doesn't look great this year with Ayuk and Debo, which I don't know if you guys saw the tweet that Debo tweeted, like, I'm fine, I'm just not getting the ball. And then somebody in the community notes added, he has the most drops or something this season. He is struggling. And so he deleted the tweet when they added the community notes.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a lot of, like,
We
Jamar
talked about
Chase,
that. Yeah.
great. Jamar Chase. Oh, you guys already talked about that?
Yeah, the community note.
It's
Yeah.
so funny, dude.
That's hilarious. And they made him delete his tweet. I'm like, oh man, they got you with the community notes. Like, no. Like they tried to get me with the community notes on Caitlin Clark's screen against UConn when they called that whatever thing, and they added community notes talking about clearly it's a moving screen. I'm like, I'm leaving this tweet up. Like, you can say whatever you want. Like, they weren't calling that screen.
A community note
game.
on like a subjective rule violation is wild. That's crazy.
Yeah, people added like the ref clearly said she's moving. Watch her leg. I'm like, yeah, now watch this
note,
screen.
This Hail Mary was pass interference, actually.
And that's what people do. Like, people love community notes, and then everybody takes it as the Bible. Like, oh, the community noted them. Like, it's just you clowns. Like, you think I really care? But when you think about that with the way that's going to set up, like, yeah, I think they're the best. I think they're the best. They are the best too right
think
now.
Too about this. Like, I thought about this earlier today. Go back to last year. You get Addison in. He's learning the ropes as a rookie. Jefferson gets hurt like fourth game, fifth game. Then when he comes back, you've got Dobbs and Hall and Mullins. So you really didn't get those two with the quarterback you want together last year. And then this year, Addison starts the year with the ankle, right? So we've only had a handful of games where you've actually got Jefferson and Addison healthy with the quarterback you want on the field. And and two of those
it turns out it's just 100-yarder after 100 yards for centuries. Yeah.
Could you imagine being was it D. Alford is his name, or
the guy who embarrassed himself?
Oh my God. Could you imagine him and Mike Hughes this week watching film? Like, I'd be like, Coach, do we really got to watch this?
I would skip that movie, honestly.
Like the deep one to Jefferson, I don't know where he was going, but when he ran to the pylon, it's like, if I'm the coach, I'm like, why are you going to the pylon? Like, what are you doing? And then he falls. Like, that's what made I feel like he point shaved. Like, I feel like
I gotta check out Coach 30, see if he's made a video.
That's what I was waiting on. But you got to believe he had to have had Justin Jefferson on his fantasy team this week or something, because like some of those falls just seem fake. Or maybe he had JJ in a parlay. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what was going on. Like, it was bad. Like, if Mike Hughes is trying to get back to the Vikings, he didn't do a great job of showing it. Like, that was.
Well, he did so much for the Vikings this week. What are you talking about?
He did. He was a better Viking this week than he was in the past. Like, I will say that.
Great contribution. In closing, Ron, can you give us a quick 1-minute prediction of the last 4 games for the Vikings? Monday Bears, Seahawks, Packers, Lions. Just give us your gut check on those 4.
As Luke Emmett probably already did. Like, I don't see a loss. I don't see a loss on the schedule. I don't see it.
Let's go, baby.
No,
can't find
I'll say 3-1. I think they can win all 3, and I think the Lions are going to want to make sure they keep that number 1 seed over the Eagles. And so I could see them going 3-1. Because I mean, again, the Packers are good, and I can't wait for them to beat the Packers again. So Bukowski can't say anything with the sweep. As good as the Packers are, because I know he's waiting for the other shoe to drop with the Vikings, but it's not. There's no DVOA conversations this year. There's no they're winning by 1 score conversations this year. And that's what I'm looking forward to with that. I'd say the Bears is the trap in that. The Seahawks is scary just because going to Seattle, it's always a weird Seattle game. It's always a weird game there. And they have the monster of a man. And when you think about Byron Murphy Jr. maybe having to cover DK or Shaq Griffin or if I'm the Vikings, I'm treating DK with this defense like a lot of teams treat Jefferson. I'm not letting DK be manned up. I'm going to keep a safety over the top and help out, and then play like I would play cover 6 for most of that game and play 2-man on one side and play quarters to the other. Like, I would always have DK covered. And then even when he runs those deep overs, same thing. I want my guy in 2-man to say, I'm not passing him off to you guys. I got to go. So somebody else, the linebackers, when I go, if I'm yelling, you got to go get to my flat spot. So I would treat DK like that. I would play like basketball, play a boxing 1. One guy stay with them, and then we always need to have somebody over the top, because, I mean, that's the one thing that I think the Seahawks do well. They run the ball well too, but getting the ball to the mismatch, that's what scares me. And Geno Smith's playing good this year. Like, he's having a good season as well. So that's the one that scares me. I don't think the Packers really scare me. I mean, the run game, that is Josh Jacobs and their run game, that's going to be another touchy point for the Vikings. But I know Aaron Jones, they already went to Green Bay, right? Because they come here next. Yeah. So, Aaron Jones has already exercised that demon there. Now he can just play a regular
New Year's
game.
Vikings-Packers game that's always gone so well.
It's the 29th, though. It's the 29th. We'll be fine.
If the Vikings go
Still Toyota
15-2, if they go 15-2 and don't get the 1 seed, that's gonna suck.
Dude, has that ever happened?
Yeah.
No, well, not in the 17
No.
game schedule.
No.
And I'm sure not in the.
And I'm no like 14-2 or like equivalent. No, there's no way.
Question for you
no
guys. I don't know if you
equivalent,
guys talked about this though. If Saquon Barkley breaks the record, do we count that because it's 17 games now versus when Eric Dickerson did it?
Sure.
You have
I mean,
to.
the NFL counts it.
I think.
I mean, you
yeah.
counted
I
it
just-
over 14
I get what
game
you're
records
saying, though,
from
Ron.
the 70s.
I
Right?
struggle.
I
I
get what
struggle
you're
with that
saying.
one.
Yeah.
I
get what you're saying.
personally am going to do what makes me feel best, so I won't. But the NFL will, and that'll be annoying. And then I'll say no. I put an asterisk on that. And when they say, what about O.J. Simpson? I'll be like, murderer. It doesn't matter.
Oh wow.
So it's fine. I'm gravy. We're good.
I just wondered that because I'm like, when he gets to, if he breaks it in 16 games, even then maybe, but like 17,
Right.
It's like
No, I know what you mean.
But like then
I get
to
it.
break any record, do we have to break it in 14 though?
true.
The 70s, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Was that 17 for Eric Dickerson? Was it 14 games? Was it a 14 game 2000
No.
season?
Dickerson was 16.
Dickerson was
Yeah,
16.
Dickerson was
OJ
16.
was 16. Yeah,
But
they moved it
Dickerson
in,
broke
82?
OJ's, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dickerson broke OJ's. OJ's was 14.
14.
Which
Okay.
is crazy.
Yeah.
What 2014 is.
He was loose. As my dad used to say, the juice was loose.
You know what it means, though? It just means that Adrian Peterson's 296 will be a more hallowed record because it was just a single game. That's actually going to be the gold standard. Is the 296? There you
But
go.
is that
Saquon has like
game?
sniffed that.
Has anybody gotten 300 or 297 or no? Is it still
No,
296?
Peterson's had it for
still
17
the
years.
record.
Wow.
Yeah, every time someone talks about a guy getting close, you look back at the box score and see there was still like 70 yards off. It's
Yeah.
a crazy record.
It's wild, dude.
That's crazy. And Jamal Lewis, we were there I was played in that 295 game. So even that's why when we saw the 296, we're like, that's BS. Count all those yards. Count those. Because
Count them.
they gave him an extra yard. Because 295, watching it live and
Stat
blocking and
correction.
feeling it coming up my back, like I felt him. I could hear him every time he was running by me. And it's like, man, I mean, he went Super Saiyan. Like he was stiff arm. Like if you go back and watch the Jamal Lewis Browns game, he stiff armed Andre Davis and didn't see him. Like his eyes were forward and he just reached his hand back and caught him perfectly on his helmet and then kept going for, I think that was like the 60-yard or something. And then that's when he threw the ball in the stands and he yelled, "I don't care, find me." And so we were all laughing at that one, like, okay, wow, you really just don't care. Because he knew he was going to get a bonus from the NFL for breaking the record. But I was like, man, he went on a different level. So I know Adrian Peterson's was nuts. And that's what I'm thinking. Like the only person that probably can do it is Saquon. Like I feel like he's the one that can go 300.
Yeah. I mean, what do you have
I
earlier?
could see Derrick Henry doing it.
But Derrick Henry's too old
Yeah,
now.
clock's
I feel
ticking
like-
there.
I feel like,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. I feel
Yeah,
like
he
Henry's
is
too old. I
Saquon.
feel like Saquon still has a chance, and I can see them doing it against the Bears. I hate to say it. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, I don't hate
There's-
to say that.
if there's one team I think they can do it against that they would just run it down their throat to just get the game over with, I could see them trying to do that to the Bears to really just impose their will with that offensive line. But yeah,
The Eagles
could you
doing that to
imagine
DJ
though
Edwards
Saquon
would be
Barkley with
nasty.
Jason Kelsey? Like, imagine if the Giants had done that
Man.
sooner and he was in that run game with Jason Kelsey. Like,
Ooh.
oh my
And that
god,
2022 team.
yeah,
God.
like you give Saquon
That would have been a record.
Man.
That's
Here on in the postcast after Monday's Vikings Bears game. It's
gonna be a late one, but we're gonna do it.
Stay
We're
up
gonna do it.
late
Oh,
with
boy.
myself and Braun and Inman and Ron talking Vikes and maybe a 12.
Have yourself a
start.
gingerbread coffee or something. Do something.
Gingerbread. I thought you were gonna
This
say
sounds
like
great.
a ginger,
Yeah.
like a ginger beer, like a Moscow.
No.
Mule.
Again, Ron, I'm telling
Yeah.
you, but you got another podcast in you. I'm saying.
Gingerbread coffee.
Yeah.
It's at Starbucks, I think. But yeah, it's like a gingerbread flavored caramel vanilla latte coffee thing. Yeah.
I'm
Seasonal.
getting that
Holiday
on DoorDash
season.
right
That's why I got
now.
the cranberry. I got the cranberry drink too today. You know,
Ooh.
you gotta, the cranberry lemonade orange at Starbucks. It's phenomenal.
A little bit. Of
Also, a
everything.
great antioxidant. I don't know if you guys saw that latest podcast. Great antioxidant.
Is that your food podcast?
No,
Yes, sir.
I was listening to
Yeah.
another one, and they were talking about foods men should have during the holiday to detox, and it was cranberries was one of the big ones. And so I'm like, oh, let me get one of these a day. So, and I'm not gonna lie, I do
more
feel
you know.
better. I do feel better.
The more you
I'm
know.
about the
I'm
cranberries.
getting that on DoorDash right now.
He will. He actually is. Make sure to use our promo code.
He actually will, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that promo code for DoorDash?
Don't put me on the spot like that.
Oh, Sam, you got to be ready on the trigger.
Oh man,
Not one of ours today, but we can pull it up.
Yeah, Braun, get on that.
Have it ready for the postcast.
There we
perfect.
go.
All right.
All right. Thanks a lot, Ron.
I appreciate it.
At 3 Ron Johnson. Check out the Andrew Sandejo interview on the Ron Johnson Show on Tuesday. Let's do a quick 4-minute drill, and then we'll make our bets. The 4-minute drill is, I want your honest assessment of where this offensive line is at. I don't think that we've talked about it much since the Reisner switch. We're 4 games in now to the Reisner and Cam Robinson experience. Let's get into the 4-minute drill.
Start the clock. It's time to execute the 4-minute drill.
That music bed's just a little bit too long. Arif, why don't you kick us off? 4-minute drill, offensive line.
I'm stuck in the Starbucks minds. We're talking about the offensive line.
Yeah, how they doing?
Not great, Bob. But okay. So I think there's a couple of things. You mentioned Reisner and replacing Ingram. So we haven't seen an appreciable upgrade in pass protection capability from the two. You don't have to pull up PFF stats or anything like that. If you just watch them, I understand that Reisner is a little bit better, but the upgrade is just not enough, I think, to justify that kind of switch. There have been communication errors. I don't really think that Reisner being there is the cause of them, but I certainly don't think it helps. And then the run blocking, I think, has gotten a little bit worse as a product of Reisner being in there. So we're not seeing the upgrade I think a lot of us were hoping to see in pass protection that would make up for that change. And because we're having a lot of trouble getting the double teams right for the center, Bradbury's getting blown up a lot more these past couple of weeks. And I wonder if that also has something to do with Reisner. That said, one of the stalwarts of the offensive line, Blake Brandel, has not been playing well over the past 2 games. I think his PFF grade is outstanding. I think he's been playing poorly because of the miscommunications and stuff like that, right? And so that needs to be figured out. Obviously, the changing nature of what's happening at left tackle is playing a role here too. And my concern is that unless this gets kind of hammered out, right, that in the playoffs, this is something that's going to be pretty easy to exploit, because it seems like these interior blitzes, even, stunts, are creating a lot of problems for this protection unit in the way that they really weren't at the beginning of the season. So that's my take. I'm trying to read the cranberry lemonade. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we do need to have an honest conversation about Bradbury. Not cranberry, Bradbury.
Well,
I think he's being left on an island when he isn't expecting to be. I'm not a Bradbury defender, but I don't think this is primarily his fault.
I think on any NFL offense, if your center is one-on-one with a nose, that guy will have a 50-pound disadvantage, and that it can't be the plan.
Yeah.
That's just,
Especially
everybody
with
doesn't
Bradbury.
like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Darnold's been sacked, 12 times in the last 3 games? I mean, you just can't, you can't sugarcoat him. I mean, things have been leaky. I think Arif brought up a lot of great points. It kind of feels like the same thing we've done year after year after year. It's the interior that you always point at first, every offseason. And to Arif's point, Bradbury's competent, he's consistent, but not elite in any way. We know that. Brandel, a first-year starter, ups and downs to be expected. Lately, he's struggling with a lot of penalties too and being inconsistent. And then at right guard, like Arif said, whether it's Ingram or Reisner, I mean, they wanted the upgrade with Pass Pro with Reisner, but it has not moved the needle nearly as much as they thought or maybe hoped it would. So it's been trial by fire, man. We even saw Brian O'Neill last week just get flat out beat for a sack one-on-one. And this is more of a testament to him, but we just don't see that happen a lot. And obviously it all kind of goes back to what Arif mentioned. You lose Darisaw, you had this luxury of leaving this elite left tackle alone on an island every single play, and then in the blink of an eye, that all disappeared. And I still think 2 things can be true at the same time. Going out and getting Cam Robinson may still single-handedly, we look back and say that potentially saved their season or their offense, because that turned out to be a massive upgrade compared to somebody like Quessenberry or we were talking about Walter Rouse, or do we move Blake Brandel over? So to not mortgage any future, any early picks, get that guy in there, I don't think you can applaud that move enough. But end of the day, a lot of question marks. It starts on the interior for sure, and halfway through the year when you got to replace your best player on the line, a left tackle no less, on the fly and figure it all out. When you think about it like that, like it's better than what I hoped for, like what I ever imagined it was going to look like, but it's still been below average, especially these last few weeks. And finally, Arif's last point, I think he nailed it. Like, this is not a team, I think, that's going to go into the playoffs with a strength over a lot of other teams they're going to match up against with that group, with the offensive line. And that definitely worries me a little bit, because I remember 2 years ago, we got on here, Sam, and we talked about the Chiefs-Eagles Super Bowl, and you asked us, what are some characteristics of these two teams? What should the Vikings be striving for next year? One of the things that we kept circling back to, both teams had this obvious strength in the trenches, and specifically the offensive line, though, too. And you could say that same thing for last year's Super Bowl, too. Niners and Chiefs. And you know, Niners, you think about, we've seen all the stats when Trent Williams plays versus when he doesn't play. It's night and day. So, yeah, it's been below average. It does worry me quite a bit, actually, going into the playoffs.
Ron?
I think the offensive line is declining right now. They're or maybe even slumping, but I'm not panicking about it. That's the headline here. Cam Robinson and Blake Brandel. I think communication between those two has been spotty. I get it. And I think communication on the other side has been spotty sometimes with Reisner. And again, I get it. We've got two guys that have only been in there a month. The chemistry is totally disrupted. And one of those you had to do, and one of those I think was an unforced error. I'm with Arif. I think the pass protection with Reisner and Ingram is at best the same. I could even argue that getting walked back and then being able to be like beat right in front of the quarterback to the inside or the outside is harder for Sam Darnold to deal with than the losses that Ed Ingram would take, where he would wash you past the quarterback to the outside. It's a much easier sidestep, and it was something that Darnold was pretty used to doing and actually able to create a whole bunch of explosive, just one little movement to the side and then you're good to go, and it's like it's a clean pocket again. You don't have that now, and the run blocking is worse. But I also think Blake Brandel is playing his worst football of the year right now. Brian O'Neill taking a couple L's the last week. So they are not playing their best football right now. They got to pull out of the tailspin.
Could be an offseason with the cap space they have where they make one splashy interior move. I wonder if this is a year where they have the luxury to do that. Or are they giving Sam Darnold $40 million?
Yeah, it's just got to find another Steve Hutchinson. It's no big deal.
No big deal.
I would settle for Mike Harris. I'd settle for Joe Berger, but obviously that would not be splashy. That would be like insanely good.
But it would be great. Like, that's even better than a splashy one, right? Just some guy who happens to kind of play at like a top 7 level at right guard. You're
Wait, who was our Canadian boy at center?
Brett Jones.
Brett Jones.
Who? Brett Jones.
The pride of Regina still got beat up by Akeem Hicks in practice.
Very quick pause. Then we're going to make our NFL picks, and we're done for the day on the Minnesota Football Party. Brought to you today by Built Rewards. If you're a renter, listen up. This is a total game changer. Thanks to Built, you can now earn points on rent payments just like you do with groceries or travel. Paying rent now comes with serious perks, and it's completely free to join. Earn valuable Built points on your rent and everyday spending at no extra cost. Redeem points for flights, hotel stays, future rent payments. With over 500 airlines and 700,000 hotels in their program, the possibilities are endless. Access unique experiences that are exclusive to Built members. This weekend, taking a little trip down to Florida with the wife and kids. And, when you get those trips like that paid for with those bonus points that you can earn, feels pretty good. Start earning points on rent you're already paying by going to joinbuilt.com/LockedOnNFL, joinbuilt.com/LockedOnNFL. Make sure to use our link so they know we sent you. Don't wait. Start earning rewards today. All right, let's make our NFL picks. It's getting dire for me. Again, started with $1,000. We've got increasing minimums and maximums, one spread/over-under, and one Vikings prop. We're just going to do the spread or over-under because the Vikings props are not posted. And then we'll text those to each other, get those out there. But the order today, Sam in last, 616, followed by Braun, who is in second to last, 908. Then Inman. Inman leads the thing, 1706, and Arif in second at 1253. So I get my pick of the litter. every spread, every over-under available to me. We got a lot of games that I just wouldn't touch this week. We've got like 2 bad teams playing each other. We got weird home underdogs where it's a bad team, but they're at home. Weird things happen. I'm going to look to my guy, Russell Wilson, to carry me to victory.
My guy.
Steelers plus 5.5 on the road against a Philadelphia team that can't pass the ball. 5.5 is a lot for Russ. Russ might win it outright. All I need is 5.5. I will take the Steelers plus 5.5, and I'm going to put 400 on it.
Whoa.
I mean, you got to get out of your hole. I understand, but that's
Wow. He's putting it all on Russell Wilson. He's been putting it all on Russell Wilson all year. I respect it.
Wow.
yeah.
I actually love that bet, Sam. That was going to be my pick. So I feel.
I mean, yeah, Sam has a
you've
right.
been doing
to it,
well.
though, so
You've been doing well. I appreciate
5.5 just seemed like a lot. 2 really good teams. 5.5. That's a lot of points.
Braun next.
Dang Vikings really need.
Hold on. I just checked.
Whoa.
And I think I think I saw it wrong. Okay, that was last week. Or sorry, that was next week.
No, I just checked right now. They're still not out. They probably won't be out till tomorrow because it's Monday Night Football.
No, I'm talking about the Steelers line. I got a little crossed up. I saw the Ravens line for next week, and I thought the line moved. It didn't. We're good.
No,
Go ahead.
Still 5.5 at minus 110 as I'm looking.
Oh yeah,
at it.
yeah. If you scroll down enough, you just start getting next week's lines. It's pretty easy to.
Yeah, that was alarming.
Yeah.
Vikings need a Lions loss really bad. I'm going to try to reverse curse that and take the Lions minus 2.5 at minus 110 for the minimum.
It's minus 1.
Got more important things to do here.
150 this week. Luke Inman.
Sorry, what did you just? What was your pick?
Lions minus 2.5 against the Bills.
Got it. Okay.
Can't buy that.
Okay. I've been riding Seattle. They're getting 2.5 at home. Good home field advantage. I'm not super confident, but I'm in first place. So obviously I'm like a professional sports gambler. So give me the Seahawks plus 2.5 minus 105. The minimum. What is it? 150.
150. Arif.
You stole my pick, Sam. So I'm just kind of
so you just go
kind of winging it.
Yeah, it's crazy. I wrote like 4 picks down just in case, and you didn't touch any of them, which is nice. So now I've got like too many choices. Whatever one I pick is going to be wrong. The other 3 are going to be right. That's how it goes. I'm going to go with Chargers minus 3 versus Tampa Bay at minus 104. That feels insane to me as a line. The last time I said that, I got demolished. So, we'll see.
Minus 104.
That was on my list too.
It's telling you.
Yeah, I had more important things to do.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the Chargers are like just a good team now. It's kind of hard to believe. They're good, and they're not really letting Justin Herbert down, which is kind of cool, which we'll see how long that lasts. But the Buccaneers are on a stretch. I just don't trust it. So I'm going to take the Chargers minus 3.
Locked in. We will text prop bets when they're available for Vikings Bears Monday night. Actually, well, guys, we do a show Monday, so we'll just make those bets on Monday.
Look at us.
Look at us being resourceeful. All right,
Easy
so
enough.
that'll be Monday. We will be back then previewing Vikings Bears even more, and check out Luke Inman on the postcast for Vikings, Wolves, and Gophers bowl game. Watch him pour mayo on his head. Luke Braun, Locked on Vikings. Arif Hassan, Wide Left Substack. I'm Sam Ekstrom. Thanks for watching, commenting, listening on the Locked on Vikings podcast feed. Talk to you next time.